thing and face. Is that like a car, a man, an elephant, a TV?
I get the feeling you were trying to do man, woman, person, camera, TV and screwed it all up.
I was doing a riff on it. I didn't feel like I
Okay.
had to be completely true to the source material. It was more of an homage or homage, if you're,
Homage.
bad at saying things.
Whoa, Mike resubbed for the 5th month. And he said, a message. Nailed it.
Oh, cool. People got these weirdo little emotes.
Yeah, there's some Twitch is teamed up with some single game that is probably going to be ass, but they're promoting the hell out of it with these emotes.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
I say that because anybody that can afford to do this with Twitch is probably a AAA game, and AAA games are by and large ass. If they're teaming up with Twitch, it's probably yet another live service game. And like we don't have 50 million of those already, and most of which all sort of blend together and don't differentiate themselves at all, except to the people that play them. Like, I couldn't tell you the difference between, I don't know, Apex Legends or that other one by the same company that came out around the same time, because of course it did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe this is just a fly-by-night scam funded by laundered money.
That never happens. Did Dirk just say not it?
No, I said Steve Bannon? What?
I thought Dirk said not it. And I'm like, that's not how this works, man. I mean, is it? Should I be saying that?
Not
too?
it.
I mean, nothing. You didn't hear me say a thing. 1, 2, 3, not it.
We're bringing down a corrupt system, starting with the leaders and working our way down. Man raises his hand. He's like, not it? Like, well, darn it. All right, who else we got?
Excuse me. Right, well, that's probably enough. Everybody good to go?
I'm good.
Okay, I forgot to mention this. At some point, I'm going to have to step away for a minute because the neighbors got another package. And when I asked what time are you getting home, they said, I don't know, sometime between 8:30 and 9. And I went, all right, don't knock on the door, text me.
I will also have to take care of dogs, so that's not the same thing. But
Yeah, mine will
It's
take
close.
open door here, bye, and then come back. So,
yes,
ouch. But okay, here we go. Ow, jam! Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mana Pool. This is episode 599 of the Mana Pool, and it turns out, yeah, we might be doing something special for 600.
there is a chance.
I might have lied to you the last couple episodes. My bad. I guess it wasn't a lie because I didn't know any different at the time.
Yeah, it was not a willful lie.
Yeah, so now I'm correcting the misinformation that I accidentally released previously. It was a
Good
lie.
job.
So, I am Chewy, the lead dork, and I have all these other dorks here with me. Hi, dorks.
Hi, I'm also a dork. I'm
Yeah,
Brian.
you are.
I'm
Hi,
Brian.
dork.
I'm the lead rambler, tangent master of the group, and I've been a dork for how long have I been alive now? 38 years. So I guess 38 years in some form or another. Yeah, that's me. This is where I usually say something witty, but it's been a long week, and I am doing my best to be here. I'm going to see this through. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll interrupt Mike. That's always funny and original.
Mike, I'm the rules guy and the Game Lord guy.
Making it way too easy for me. I was
We
gonna
may not
like,
make it much further than this episode at this rate.
good night, everybody.
I guess I've been a dork for about 36 years, except for 1 week where I was cool. That probably didn't actually happen.
That
It was
a
5
retcon.
days.
Okay.
And I'm Dirk, the self-proclaimed greenest man alive and moral compass of the group, and I've been a Dirk for 39 years, and a dork for just as long.
See, for a second there, I was almost like, did he? Oh no, well played.
I
Well
know.
played.
This is all a very strange thing.
Well, have you met us?
I have. You're all very strange things.
Mhm. We few, we mighty few.
So, I'm way cooler than these guys. So just I can't really subtract out the coolness from the 39 years of me. So it's some number less than 39 years though. Because
Math
I
is
was really cool at several points.
hmm
I'm pretty sure.
No, I wouldn't say cool. We said dork. There's, I don't know if that makes you cool, but it's definitely something.
Sorry, I was traditionally cool
Oh.
at several points.
But then you got better.
Probably.
Did you come to the dark side because it had cookies?
What kind of cookies? No. All right. Let's get to it. So, right. There's a thing that we do, a show that we do called "There's No Plane Like Home," where we go to a plane of the magic multiverse and look around and try to decide if there's one. No, we go to a plane. I got completely confused. We go to a plane of the multiverse and take a good hard look at it to figure out if we would like to live there or not. And it's neat. We look at the various sentient races that live there, or semi-sentient, since there's always goblins. Is that racist?
The societal breakdown, like is there society? There's always some kind of sort of society, but culture, things like that.
Potential threats, monsters, and whatnot that live there that might want to eat you or whatever, or just kill you for fun. You know.
Yeah. Spoiler alert: there's always some threat. I mean, it's magic, so.
Right?
And more often than not, we look at it and go, no.
Some are better than others. Have we done Kaladesh
Well, I think we had
yet?
one that we were like, actually, that one might not be bad. Problem is, I can't remember which one it is.
I think it might have been Kaladesh.
I think it was Theros.
Oh.
Well, now I don't know now that I've said that.
But
We
now
have
we're like, I
done.
don't know.
So in the past, we've done Innistrad, Ravnica, Theros, Amonkhet. Never go to Amonkhet.
No.
Mirrodin, New Phyrexia, and even back when it was Argentum. Kaladesh, Kamigawa, and Tarkir.
Done several of these. I think it might have been Kaladesh or Theros.
Would have been the top one, yeah. Probably
would not
Kaladesh
have-
would have been the top one, yeah.
Meanwhile, somewhere at the bottom, while there's dangers anywhere, somewhere at the bottom has got to be Amonkhet and Innistrad.
Yeah, Amonkhet is when you dig all the way down. Let's say you're playing Minecraft. You dig all the way down and you hit the foundation blocks that you can't break through with anything. Below that is Amonkhet.
See, I don't even play Minecraft. I've heard of it. I've never actually played it, but even I get that. So.
Yeah,
But
Amonkhet
Innistrad
is
is
right
not-
up there with New Phyrexia, really. It's that bad.
But Innistrad is not much better. I think before we did Amonkhet, Innistrad was the wow. Everything here wants to kill you and eat you, and when you die, there's no afterlife. You hope that your soul doesn't exist. Basically, you hope that you don't exist anymore.
Nothing takes your soul.
the blessed sleep is there is nothingness. So
And hey,
yeah.
we can all relate to that because we've all lived through this much of 2020.
Oh, didn't mean to make that so real, but there you go.
So,
Right. But we're not doing those today.
correct, because we've already done those. This week, we are doing the bizarre. They're all bizarre, but this one's a little more bizarre. The bizarre dual-natured plane of Lorwyn and/or Shadowmoor.
Yay! I've been looking
Huzzah.
forward to this one because this one's neat.
This one has been on the chopping block for quite some time, but I think we've just kept putting it off. But officially, we are going to cover it today.
Yes. So we were having some discussion pre-show about because of the nature of Lorwyn and Shadowmoor, how do we cover this? And I think we're going to essentially do Lorwyn essentially in its entirety, and then Shadowmoor. Mike,
Yes,
Mister, I was gonna. I don't want to talk over Chewie. I was gonna wonder. I was gonna ask our lore master why we would have this particular.
Except Mike keeps saying he's not that type of lore master.
Yes, I know. I'm just putting him on the spot. So he also probably knows the answer to this, but if he doesn't, do you want me to explain why we're having?
Okay,
this?
Brian, stop talking, for God's sake. All right, Mike, you want to take a crack at it then? Sure, why not?
The reason that we're talking about both of them together, they're two halves of the same plane. There's an extremely strange supernatural phenomenon that's always been part of Lorwyn and Shadowmoor called the Royal. The Royal, is that right? Yes.
The Aurora.
That's not right. The Aurora. Yeah, the Royal is
The
something else.
Royals
Sorry.
on Zendikar.
Yes, the Aurora. My bad. Every once in a while, on some cycle, basically like the rising or setting of the sun, it doesn't happen every day. The Aurora comes through and switches the entire plane over from Lorwyn to Shadowmoor, or from Shadowmoor to Lorwyn. They're very, very different.
It was every 300 years, according to the Gamepedia page.
Okay, cool. Lorwyn is the bright, happy, traditional fantasy side, and Shadowmoor is the dark, creepy, dangerous, traditional fantasy side. And pretty much no one on the plane, except for a few key beings, are even aware that there are two different planes side by side. Everyone else, they don't keep their awareness of their life on the other plane when it switches over. It just switches over, and now they're wherever they are living their lives.
Right. And it's interesting because you still have the same individuals. It's not like all of a sudden half the population goes to sleep and the other half wakes up. These are the same individuals, but they take on different personality traits on either side, and it's fascinating. And well, almost all of them take on different personality traits. There are exceptions.
Right.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like they shift between alternate dimensions where they're still them, but who they as them are is a completely different person because all circumstances around them are completely different people.
Yes.
Yes.
And hey, Random KO threw 100 bits. Say, hey, an episode! Alas, too tired right now. Well, well, thank you for the bits. So, according to the wiki, we don't actually know what things look like anymore.
We haven't been back there in a while, and as always, usually especially when under the old block format, you have a world altering event, and at the end of the story it's resolved. But here it was resolved in such a way that it's possible that there will be more of a switch, more of a regular switch versus the 300 years. It may happen more frequently, or possibly to less of an extreme. So, because we haven't been back, we're not sure what the current state of the plane is. But what we have to work off of is where it was when we were there for the lower one block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also an issue with the fact that the Lorwyn block story is a horrendous mess. I remember going through it one time on Clues' old podcast. What was that called? I don't remember. With him and his homeboy, and wow, that story was something else, and not
It
in a good
was.
way.
I can't remember if that was when had switched over to random discard or when it was
It was before that. It was the old name.
card.
Card Advantage.
There we go. Card advantage. Thank you, Stark.
Started that us in the chat. Yep.
So what about it, Mike?
It was just a horrific mess that made no sense and was very difficult to follow.
I didn't really have a big problem with it. I've heard harder ones like the original Zendikar story, but there were certain
Well,
parts of it.
maybe okay. I say it was hard to follow and made no sense because it was one of those times when they had a story that an extremely small percentage of it actually appeared in the cards. There was no
Yes,
way you were going to be aware of what was going on except for the broadest of strokes if you just played the set.
I think that's fair to say, because they still at that point they were still putting out paperback novels, and that's where most of the lore was being put. That was at a time where, as opposed to now, where you have a lot more top-down design, and you have like the story spotlight cards. You didn't really have that in the set itself, so I can see that. So, Lorwyn, because we're going to start with Lorwyn versus as opposed to Shadowmoor, correct?
Yeah.
So, what are some of the key races that populate this world?
Well,
I'll give
before
you
we
a
get
hint.
to the specifics of races,
Yes.
Lorwyn is like the happy daytime. Everything's happy and nice and cool, mostly overall, on average.
Right.
And then Shadowmoor is nighttime when the creepy things come out and things get dark and dangerous and scary.
Yeah. I know Mike said it didn't happen every day. I think it may actually I'd have to go back and read the stories again. I think it may have literally been Everlasting Day in Lorwyn and Everlasting Night in Shadowmoor. It's just that the cycle was monkeyed with by one of the main characters, and she was using it to her own advantage. I could
Yeah,
be
Lorwyn never actually had nighttime, and I'm pretty sure Shadowmoor never actually had day.
right. You think about the cards that were put out. There was not one in Lorwyn that depicted a nighttime scene, and then vice versa in uh, Shadowmoor Eventide.
Yeah, I
So
know they said specifically that like the sun never quite dipped below the horizon, so at
yeah,
best you got dusk.
I want to say that it would like dip down and get almost there, and then it would like start rising again. But I haven't read the books in a while, so. Um, but I think Mark Rosewater, when they were talking about this set in development, he said they wanted to. So many of the sets are like it's the end of the world and life or death and da, da, da. And he said someone in creative came up to him and said, "What if the most serious thing was a goblin smashing a pie in the face of a Kithkin?" And that's like,
Gasp!
yeah,
Clutches pearls.
right. And they're like, you know what? That might be a nice change of pace. So it doesn't stay like that because Shadowmoor is back to the, but it was more of a lighthearted thing. You still have some life or death struggles here because that's present on, every plane in existence, but it's toned down here.
Yeah. So, for instance, think of any discard spell, right?
Right.
They're all about messing with someone's mind, or you're reaching into someone's head, or messing with their sanity or something.
Right.
Whereas the discard spell I always remember in this set is depicted with a fish tied to a brick or a rock or something being thrown at someone's head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And we spent a lot of time on that back in the day because this is when we started the podcast. Like Morningtide was our first new set, if I remember correctly.
That's right.
Yep.
We spent a lot of time talking about how just neat everything was and cute and sweet.
Yeah. And it had a very consistent theme and feeling to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like Brian tried to do earlier, let's go to the individual races. First up is we had the Kithkin.
Wait, what about humans?
We don't have those.
Nope.
No humans anywhere on the plane.
Yeah,
Yep.
apparently, except this is where the planeswalkers were introduced, and what, 4 of them are human? But
Yeah.
they're not actually in the story. This is just where they got dropped.
And
Yeah,
they-
because they hadn't finished figuring them out for future sites, so they had to put them off.
Yeah.
Right. And they did make a point of saying they didn't have a problem doing it here because they wanted the planeswalkers to feel otherworldly. So, like, they didn't really fit in. So, yeah. So, no humans, but we do have Kithkin. And I interrupted Chewie, but I just wanted to make that point real quick.
Yeah, and Kithkin on Lorwyn are essentially hobbits.
Yeah.
Except they're all hobbits that have like a low-level telepathic connection.
Yeah.
What is that called?
It's called the Weft.
The Thought Weft.
Is it called the
Yeah.
Weft or the Thought Weft? There you go.
Yeah. And it's like a low-level like empathic connection.
Mhm.
And yeah, they're hobbits. Like it's
Right.
the quickest way to just cut to the point.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
they're, happy and friendly and whatever.
Yeah. They
Yep.
they lead
Live in
very
their little towns. They have their parties. Goblins throw rocks at them.
Yeah.
they 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 live very communal lives. The side effect of the thought weft is they tend to look out for each other. So yeah.
Which is pretty nice if you think about it. Let's see. See if I can get a picture of Kithkin up here. Here we
They-
go, yeah. Here's the nice happy daytime Kithkin. Yay.
They are depicted color wise in white and green because white for the community, just law abiding creatures, and green for very the similar traits that they share in common. So not a whole lot of evil, selfishness, whatever. Just leading small but domestic lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we have goblins, known are boggarts. Here. And-
Mischievous, covetous, and excitable.
yeah. The boggarts are all about
Sensations.
yes.
Yes, finding awesome experiences.
Well, finding unknown, unusual, unlived experiences.
Mhm.
That to them makes them awesome. We ourselves might have a different definition of awesome because one might plunge his hand into a hornet nest to be like, I've never done this before. And to him, that's great. And to us, we would be like, maybe not.
Yeah, he's going to go back to the burrow and tell other people about it who haven't done it, and they're going to go do it too, so they can experience it for themselves,
Yep.
and it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
The little snippet that I have from the player's guide says Bogart's only law requires the new sensationary discoveries be shared with all other Boggarts. Their greatest crime is to hoard an item to oneself.
That's
Yup.
right. And there's actually a card that depicts a boggart hiding something from the others, and he's depicted on another card as being exiled because that's the only thing they can do that will get them in trouble. Have you guys tried eating this thing while it's on fire? It tastes so warm and fiery. They're relatively harmless, although they do tend to gather in large swarms. So some of the other two races do perceive them to be a bit of a threat, or at the very least, a nuisance, especially the elves.
Yeah. And, because of their personalities and what they think is enjoyable or funny, their pranks they pull can also be pretty dangerous. We talked about Noggin Whack, the discard spell earlier. Throwing a fish at someone is pretty funny. Tying it to a rock makes it even funnier.
Yeah. And to them, that's just, well, of course, because that's what you do. But it could end up being pretty detrimental to somebody else. But that's not the point. The point isn't to be safe, it's to just do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm
They
sure the
are,
boggart thinks they're sharing the experience of getting whacked in the head with a fish, with a
yeah,
rock, tied to a rock, with the Kithkin or whatever.
yeah. Um, they are represented in red and green, and here it's like the utmost. You think what do those colors have in common? It's very much a impulsiveness, and this
Wait,
is that.
no.
The red and black and
The
Oh,
red's
I'm sorry.
black in Lorwyn.
yeah.
They're red and black. Yeah, I apologize. I'm getting ahead of myself. Um, Nothing. But so red and black, and very much that sense of, well, it's kind of about me. It's not necessarily in a selfish way, but it's more about, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to try. Not really worried about consequences because that is not a thing that happens with boggarts. Most of
Yeah.
them probably don't know how to spell consequences, let alone know what that is.
So let's
Yeah.
see. Who else do we
And
have?
they reproduce quickly enough that, it doesn't matter that they get into so much danger. They're not going to go extinct from it.
Right.
Yeah.
Elves were mentioned. You want to do elves?
No, let's save them.
Yeah.
How about Flamekin?
Flamekin are cool, uh, by which they're very hot. Um, Elementals.
Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. I forgot to actually show. Here's one of the Lorwyn boggarts. He's
There you
got
go.
a he's got a thingy that he's glowing. I guess that's probably a fairy, maybe that he's about to poke, and he's got a snail climbing on his head, and he's because that's a sensation, and he's just kind of derpy. This is goblins or
Uh,
boggarts.
do you have a picture of the Sensation Gorger? Because that guy is like
That's a good one.
to
No,
the
that guy's
max.
terrifying.
It really does make me uncomfortable to look at him too hard,
Yeah.
but he is the ultimate example
Yeah. He's
of,
living his best life right there.
yes,
So okay,
for a while.
Flamekin.
Yeah,
Flamekin.
Flamekin.
So there are lots and lots of elementals on Lorwyn as part of the nature of the plane. Flamekin are the humanoid ones with a society.
Right. And you might think, well, elementals in Magic's history are represented not just on Lorwyn, but you think about elementals just in general, and it's a very general term. It's almost like beast in that it can apply to a bunch of different things. Like wind elemental is very one thing, but some of the commanders in commander sets are like, oh, that thing's an elemental. Okay, but here with Flamekin, it has a very distinct look to it. How would you describe them physically?
Um, seem to be mostly made of fire, but with certain features that are solidified. They look like they're made out of stone, some kind of stone.
Stone or coal or something.
Mhm.
You know, an eternal flame, basically.
Yeah.
But there's a stone that they have humanoid features that are in stone.
Yeah, essentially they have some sort of hardened rock, something that are essentially skeletons, whereas the rest of them are fire.
Yes.
Right.
And they're, let's see, what's their deal?
Is
Since
impulsive,
they're centered
proud,
in.
and restless.
Yes, exactly. They're centered in red, so they're going to be really passionate and independent.
Oh yeah, they were pretty much only in red in Lorwyn.
The Flamekin, yes.
Yeah. Now the greater elementals, as they're known, were scattered throughout all the colors.
Yeah.
Everyone remembers Muldrifter.
Yep.
Yup.
And then the one that the silly one that brought back the white one that was the wings and the really abstract
Oh,
art.
dang it.
The Revelark.
Yes.
Yeah, that was also an elemental, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Shriekmaw in this one.
Shriekmaw.
Rigma is in this one. Good old snake bird thing.
Spite Bellows.
Do we
All
have?
types of crazy crap.
Oh, we don't have elementals that aren't Flamekin in the visual thing here on the Magic website. So let's see what else we've got. Tree folk, which are essentially Ents
Yep.
in Lorwyn.
Yep.
We've got
They're in green and white in Lorwyn.
green and white. Yeah.
Same colors as the Kithkin, and you've got like Doran the Siege Tower, and I think he's just supposed to be the basic wise, oh, I've lived for hundreds of years. I'm a talking tree kind of guy.
Yeah.
One quick thing.
One quick thing.
Just to take one quick step back on the elementals, the higher ones. We also forgot to mention the incarnations. Because this is Giles in this. He's an elemental.
Oh yeah, they didn't function the same
Oh,
way
that's
they
right.
did in Judgment.
Dread, Guile, Glory,
Purity.
out of order.
No, glory
Not
is
Glory. You're right. Purity,
Guile.
How do I know?
Vigor. What's the red one?
I see it. Hostility.
Yeah, I can see the art, but I can't see the
Hostility. I
name.
think Hostility is right.
Hostility.
Ah,
That's the one.
got
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh God, a vigor. Vigor still. What is it about green incarnations just being the beat sticks?
Vigor was the bomb.
Now those aren't technically elementals, right?
They
Aren't
are
they?
elemental incarnations,
Okay.
or at least that's what it says in the player's guide. That may have been retconned since then.
I guess one of us needs to have Gatherer open. I'll do it.
Speaking of creature types,
Sure.
I need to go see a girl about some dogs, or I guess hounds. No, they're dogs now.
Yeah, they're dogs now.
All right, BRB.
All right. So giants in Lorwyn were in. Hang on, red and white,
Yes.
and they're just sort of there.
Yeah, they hang out. Giants are very long lived. They have this thing where one day they'll just go to sleep and for a long time and have dreams and visions. And when they wake up, sometimes they're just a completely different person.
So wait, you're saying I could have slept through 2020?
Mm-hmm.
Damn
if
it!
you were a giant.
I'm a sort of big dude.
So it says extremism. Giants' personalities are as singular and enormous as their nature. An angry giant isn't merely annoyed, he's a walking tower of rage. When a giant laughs, he guffs. His guffs can shake villages miles away. So
Okay, then.
when they're mad, they are mad. But they also are reclusive.
Yeah,
The whole they like to be by themselves and just sleep it off.
the magic site here that I have on the screen says any destruction they cause is a matter of not noticing smaller creatures underfoot rather than malice.
Hmm.
Said in Lorwyn, they're just kind of there, doing their thing, not really paying much attention to anybody else.
Yep.
So then, let's see, was it Merfolk? Yeah, we've got Marrow, right? That's what they're called.
Yeah, the marrow. Hmm.
Now this image here is one of the scary ones. So just pretend it's got less of a skull face, and that's a marrow from Lorwyn. But on Lorwyn, the marrow live in the rivers because there aren't oceans.
no
I don't
ocean.
think.
No.
And so because the rivers are the connective tissue between all of the regions, they're traders and gossipers and travelers.
Yeah, and there's also the secret underground passages connecting the waterways in a different way that only the marrow know about. That helps them get around too.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So yeah, they're still basically friendly though.
Yeah.
Okay, so who have we missed? Oh, and marrows are. What are marrows in this? Are they blue white?
Blue and white, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so who's left? Elves and fairies are pretty much it. Oh, there's changelings.
Oh, right, the changelings. Huh.
Let's not forget the changelings. Changelings
Right.
are not a separate culture.
No, they're these just odd jelly things that live on Lorwyn and go around and just take on the qualities of whatever other uh, beings they happen to be hanging around.
I forget. Are they in Shadowmoor? Oh, we'll talk about that when we get there. Seriously, though, are they in Shadowmoor?
I don't
I
have the
think
book on
so.
that
There's
one.
one I see in my head. Let me see if I can remember the name and look it up.
Huh. I just have no memory of changelings in Shadowmoor, but we're not there yet, so it's fine.
Quick thing. Chelsea was talking to me. Did we talk about Fae?
Not yet. No, that's next. Actually,
All
no,
right,
that's
back.
not next, because next up we'll do elves. But
Did
yeah,
we-
changelings are weird. They're solitary as far as changelings, like being with other changelings go. But like Mike said, they'll sort of just wander into wherever amongst whatever other race and turn into something resembling that. Like here, you can see the thing mimicking the burbs.
Hmm.
Because, hey, look, there's a thing. I'll be like that.
And like, you know the art for crib swap, right?
Oh, yeah. And the token in whatever new thing just came out, Double Masters, that shows that little crib swap dude grew up to become a whatever, like Hithkin, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
That's so cute.
Okay, the changeling that I thought was in Shadowmoor is not. It's in Lorwyn. And it doesn't look like there are any in Shadowmoor or Eventide.
I didn't think so.
Because-
What's the one you were thinking of?
Cairn Wanderer.
Oh no, yeah, that's in that was in Lorwyn, I think, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I just figured since it was weird looking and it had a graveyard mechanic that, hey, why not?
Yeah. So then we come to the elves. Now that Brian's back,
Yes.
the elves in Lorwyn are the bad guys.
Yeah,
Yep, they're jerks.
Hmm.
they are.
Are they the authoritarian group?
Well, it's not even so much authority as I've got to be careful how I say this. They see all
We have bows and arrows and you don't.
no, well, I mean, yeah, they see all other races as inferior. Like literally, that's not
Ugly.
like that's not
Yeah,
just a they,
elves are the racist overlords of the place.
Mhm.
yes. Although they don't really care a whole lot about governing, they more just care about look at us, we're so pretty. We and yes, they will occasionally hunt down members of the other races, but it's mostly like trying to keep the boggarts off of their lands. It less about like, oh, we're in charge, more about just like
Yeah, it's
everyone else
not
is beneath us.
it's not we're in charge. It's yes, we're so pretty and you're not, so I'm gonna cut your head off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And beauty is a thing. Like if an elf loses a horn because they have horns on this plane, or if they're scarred, they can be exiled or killed because they're not beautiful anymore. So that they apply that to their own race as well.
Yeah.
Um, but even a disfigured elf is probably still prettier than everything else. So yeah,
So yeah, it's I'm gonna catch hell for this, but I can't not say it. It's what this country will look like if somehow Trump gets a second term. Like, just anyone who's not like us is gonna get purged. Sorry, not sorry. Get out. That's how the elves are. And yep, I said it, and I'm not sorry because it's funny and true.
Part of Niss's first planeswalking story was that she ended up on Lorwyn, and
Really?
yeah, she ended
Yeah.
up joining an elvish hunting party that were out hunting eye blights.
Yeah.
And when they found a group of boggarts, they was like, "All right, let's go kill them." And this is like, "Why would you just kill them?"
yeah,
And the other elves were like, "Cause they're ugly as hell. Just look at them." And this
Yeah.
was like, "You guys are jerks." And then it was like, "Oh no, the Aurora's coming." And it was like, "Oh no, ah!" And Nissa planeswalked again, and that was the end of that little
yeah.
episode.
That was a very concise summary. I was going to add something, and all I would say would be words. So I was just going to say maybe keep in mind that she just got there from Lorwyn, not from Lorwyn, from
Zendikar.
Zendikar. So really harsh place where people struggle to survive all the time. The environment is literally trying to kill you. And she's like, "Oh, this place is nice, and I'm surrounded by elves, and they like me, and they want to hunt something that's bad." And so, to her mind, that bad thing must be something that's really dangerous, not
Hmm.
a group of boggarts that are just like messing around. So,
Yeah.
and the elves are like, "Cause they're boggarts." Did you see this? Yes, but they're not all the races. Yeah.
Yes.
So vain. Yeah. Oh, they are definitely the same, and that's a story point. So in Lorwyn, what are they like? Because they're the same in Shadowmoor. What is it with fairies? Hmm.
I think I was muted during all that. Chat, did you hear me say that about the fairies don't change between Lord and Shadowmoor? I don't remember if
Yeah,
I unmuted and
we did.
remuted. I know you heard me, but I don't know if chat heard me.
Oh,
Oh.
I
Oh,
didn't hear
nope.
you.
I apparently missed the unmute. Okay, so let me say it again so the podcast can hear me. Fairies don't change between Lorwyn and Shadowmoor. They're the same regardless. And they're blue black and they're obnoxious little twits.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they
And now
Uh,
I'm gonna step away to go deliver this package to the neighbors. I'll be right back.
so fairies are pranksters, but whereas the boggarts are like pranksters in that they're like, watch what happens when I smash, this rock into your face. You've never done that before. The fairies are very.
Did you just
See,
get a rock smashed into his face?
Well,
Brian
the
dropped from the collar, or did he just stop talking?
I'm here. I heard that sound and I just was concerned.
Mm.
Um, I guess I'll keep going.
Yes.
yeah,
Uh,
keep going.
okay, the fairies are malicious. Um, again, it may not be like killing people, at least not on purpose, but fairies are interesting. So they are born in trios. It's called a clique. You might have heard of cards like the Mistbind clique,
Hmm.
or what's the legendary one?
The Vandalion clique.
The Vendilion clique, and that's actually their storyline figures. But they are born in groups of three, and those three are inseparable for the totality of their lives. Um, it's actually a major story point when the Vendilion clique, the members of that clique start to think independently, and that's really weird and on a basic level almost kind of wrong. So, but they fly around and they have their little schemes, and it still doesn't seem to serve any greater purpose, except there are fairies that do serve a greater purpose because they're acting on behalf of Una.
Hmm.
Una is not a fairy. I don't know that we have any specific confirmation what she is, but she's not like the other fairies. So, but the other
Yeah.
fairies
Her
again,
card type might be, but she's not like the others.
no.
Very different.
Who's not?
Una.
Una,
Una.
Una's the queen, right?
she's
Yes.
the
Hmm.
queen, but she's okay. Like the Myosian are to the other spirits on Kamigawa, she is to the fairies. Like it's not even a whole nother level. It's like five whole nother levels because it's shown that she, A, might be immortal, B, is um actually the one manipulating the Aurora and made the Great Aurora and seemed to stretch the period of time out to her own advantage and seems to have her hands in everything. So the other fairies serve her. She seems to be the one that is there when they're born. She creates them, question mark, and they serve as her spies and agents throughout Lorwyn and Shadowmoor. So she's illustrated to have powers way beyond ordinary fairies, and I don't recall, but she may have knowledge of other planes. She's not a planes walker, but again, that sort of extra, acknowledgement of the greater world out there. So I think her mind tried to connect with Nissa before Nissa left. I'd have to go back and read that story again. I feel like I'm saying that a lot. But on the whole, the fairies are just as you see them in other planes, but they do have those distinct features, especially the fact that they are born in those trios. And those trios don't have that same thought weft that the Kith can do, but they they have that they're born together and they're inseparable. So everything okay, Chewy? Do you deliver your thing?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Thought I heard a sound at one point, so
Not sounds.
I don't like sounds, especially
Oh,
when
you
they're
probably heard. So I sent her. So cute neighbor chick. They get packages, but they don't want them left out there because they had one that got cut open once.
yeah.
So I said, well, I'll grab them for you when I see them. And I sent her a text saying, okay, coming out now. And she went outside and was standing right next to the door again, like right up against where the door opens. So I was like looking down at her package because I was gonna open the door and pick it up and run it next door. And so when I opened the door and looked up, that's what you heard.
Yeah, that's except it was you were a good ways from your mic, so
Yeah.
I had just said something about getting hit in the head with a rock, and then you made that sound, And
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I hope the mic picked that up for chat.
I think it did. Is there anything you want to add about fairies?
Did we mention that they steal dreams?
Did not mention that they steal dreams.
No, we missed
But
that.
as an original printing of Thoughtseize.
True. Yeah,
So-
they harvest dreams because there's magical energy in it, apparently. And they take it with them back to where are they from?
Wherever Una is.
Glenalindra. There we go.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's creepy.
Yeah.
But what else is there's not anything else, right? Like there's the sentient races, there's like normal animals, and there's the elementals,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and that's it, right? Oh, and
Keep in
changelings,
mind-
whatever the hell they are.
Keep in mind that Lorwyn was a tribal set, so it works better when you have a few distinct tribes to build around. And
Well,
you
yeah,
don't
but I
want-
mean that's on cards. But I mean even outside of cards, we didn't get other stuff.
yeah.
Was this the first set that had creature and professions?
I think this is where they did that. Yeah, they did that.
Where they started
Specifically-
if you're a creature, you had a job as well.
Yeah, they
Right.
did that specifically for Morningtide. It wasn't like the first time ever, but it was
Right, because like
when they
rogues
made it
were a
mainstream.
thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So then, if that is Lorwyn, then yes, I would like to live on Lorwyn.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad. The societies don't intermix a whole lot. They aren't tearing each other apart all the time. They're not at war with each other. Probably the place you don't want to be is caught between an elf hunting party and a blight like a boggle. Or I don't think it ever says specifically, but they would probably view changelings, especially changelings that don't look like an elf, as a blight. So you don't want to be between the elf and whatever it's hunting. And you don't want to be underfoot of a giant, but otherwise you're probably okay. You could definitely live with some merfolk, not under the sea, probably, but they're
Under the
fairly-
sea. Oh,
they're-
sorry.
they're amicable, and the Kithkin are fairly warm creatures. So, overall, fairly safe. Probably not going to die right away.
Like, I don't want to hang out with the elves because I am an eye blight. Let's be real.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a human would just kind of stick out since there aren't any there. But
Yeah.
maybe the Kitkin would be nice to you.
I mean, the Kithkin are nice to everybody, so I'm sure that we could hang out with Kithkin. Boggarts I probably don't want to hang out with because they'd be like stabbing me. They'd be like, hey, how you like this? And I'd be like, dude, not cool.
Dude, taste the skunk I found. It's like, oh,
Like, I am not licking any part of that skunk, sir. I'm going to tell Auntie on you.
And if you bring your own bread or whatever, they're going to be like, "Oh, great, you brought that for everybody. Did you bring enough for the class? I will totally trade you that for this skunk meat."
Yeah, I don't want to hang out in any Boggart Warrens. The Flamekin are probably cool, if they don't like.
as long as they don't try to get huggy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, their flames aren't hot unless they do that on purpose. So,
Right.
although probably hugging stone with cold fire coming out of it is probably a little uncomfy, but I'll give it a shot. I'm a huggy guy. I haven't hugged anyone in 4 months. I'll hug a Flamekin. I don't give a damn. But I mean, as long as Flamekin don't immediately think that I'm not good, then they'd probably not be so bad to hang out with. So it's basically just the elves and the boggarts that you want to avoid.
Yeah.
Find a changeling and pal around with it.
Mhm.
It's like that. Did you really just? Because I have a shirt right now with a pocket on it. And I'd be like, "Did you really just make a flap of skin? That's a shirt pocket. That's weird. I'm gonna need you to not do that." But there's nothing really bad. Like, as long as you steer clear of the elves, it's fine.
Mhm.
It might be the best place to live, just because there's only one danger of something up and killing. Like on Theros, if you catch a god in a bad mood, you might just get incinerated. Like, whoops.
Or a wandering monster comes and steps on you. And
Yeah,
eats
or Pelucranos walks by and goes, "I'm gonna eat your entire face." Like, that's bad. And there's a bunch of monsters on Theros, so like that's not cool. But like here, it's really the happy sunshine, nice. Although I do like the dark, being very pale and I burn easily. So I bet like catching some sleep would take some getting used to, since it never gets dark. But there are parts of this planet where it never gets dark and people live just fine. So that would just
There
be
you go.
uncomfortable for a while.
You,
And I'm
you
sure
have-
you can find someone who can make you a wide brim straw hat to protect yourself from the sun a little bit.
There you go.
Yeah.
But if you're here after the aurora, everything changes. And it may not be quite as nice. So I guess that's one of the hazards of being here. If you're not a planeswalker, if you can't just choose to leave, you're kind of in it for the long haul with both of these. And yes, if you're here during one of these extremely long periods where, hey, it's Lorwyn and it's going to be Lorwyn past your lifetime, great.
Yeah,
But if
then you're
you're-
golden.
Then you're golden. But if you're at a period where it's changing more regularly, or if you happen to get here and oops, the sun went down all the way, well, let's get into it. Is it still such a nice place? You have every single race except for the changelings. Something happens to the changelings, they disappear. Do they all go into the mutavault? I'm not sure.
Maybe.
But everything you know is wrong. So right out of the gate, fairies still the same, still doing Una's work. They seem to know that the aurora happens. They seem to understand it. They got it. Kithkin have a marked change. They have the thought weft, but it's like amplified.
Yeah.
And
the only,
didn't they change its name?
yes, they change it to something.
To the Mind Weft.
The mind weft.
And instead of leading to like everyone knows everybody and it's all empathic, it like spreads paranoia.
Yeah, paranoia is exactly the word I was going to use. It is very much, if you're not with us, you're against us, and if you don't look, sounds bad. If you don't look like us and you don't share our mind weft, you're not one of us, and you will never be one of us. They hide behind their walls,
Yep.
and if you try to get in and seek shelter, something bad gonna happen to you, man. And their eyes, ooh, they have these huge blank eyes. It's super creepy.
Yeah, they lose their pupils
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
change, and that's they look like big bottom dwelling, because it's always dark. You know, they look like large bottom dwelling things with the big bulbous eyes that again don't have pupils,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and it's creepy. But that's the
Yeah.
point. They're supposed to be creepy. They're
Yeah.
buh.
Yeah.
They move into blue and white instead of green and white because of just, the communal society aspect. It's much more structured. Like Brian says, they have their fortified cities
Yeah.
instead of just their little villages.
And instead of the Klatchins, they're I can't pronounce it. Douns,
Tunes.
I guess.
Sure. Let's go with that.
There's a lot of different types of real world Celtic mythological magical influences in Lorwyn and Shadowmoor,
Yes.
including weird words that don't look like they should be pronounceable sometimes.
Accurate.
Also, yes.
Oh my god, they're also the ones that made the scarecrows.
Yes.
Because we
Right.
didn't have changelings in Shadowmoor, we had scarecrows as the other random nonsense thing
Yeah.
for draft
And
purposes.
and the scarecrows kind of almost epitomize their paranoia.
Yeah, they, according to, again, the wiki page, the Kithkin of Shadowmoor were the creators of huge inanimate scarecrows, though they became animated for unknown reasons, and they lost control of these malignant constructs. So that's always
That's
fun.
that's even worse. I thought they made them on purpose.
I think they made them on purpose to scare other things away, and then somehow the magic of the plane got infused, yada yada yada, and kind of reinforces their paranoia, doesn't it? Because literally they think everything's out to get them, and here these things that they made are out to get them. So told you, this is why we don't go outside anymore. So yeah, it's they are extremely isolationist. And whereas Kithkin on Lorwyn would be like, yeah, let's help a stranger in need, they would be like, stranger danger, and don't let him near you,
And maybe stab it.
and maybe stab it in the name of self defense. You know, stab them before they can stab you. So, yeah. What about the Merfolk?
So the Marrow in Shadowmoor, instead of being traitors and happy, friendly, whatever, they become like
Thieves and
pirates.
assassins. Yeah, pirates.
Like pirates before we actually had, like, pirates. But yeah,
Yeah, they're like pirates without ships.
yes, they're cutthroat.
Yeah, and they're dangerous, and they're in blue black instead of blue white.
Yes, they will drown you. So
Yeah, I was just about to say, instead of popping out of a well to share gossip with you, they'll pop you out of a well to drag you under the water and eat you
yeah,
and steal all your stuff.
they have a taste for flesh, right? So
Ugh. And there's other kinds of merfolk too. There's the Selkies, which are not marrow, but are still water folk,
Yeah,
yeah, aren't
instead of being fish people, they're seal people.
right?
and they're also creepy.
Yes,
Blank eyes and buh. Chat says, weren't a lot of them rogues in Shadowmoor? Probably. That sounds right.
I love Rouge.
Yeah, rogue was one of the main job classes that was introduced in these blocks.
Dude, Stark nailed it. He said they go from Disney's The Little Mermaid to Hans Christian Andersen's The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Yup.
Yeah,
That's basically it.
Nailed it.
Lorwyn is the happy version of all that stuff, and Shadowmoor is the
Is the Grimm's fairy tale.
is the hardcore Grimm's fairy tale version.
Yeah. Also, like another thing that I meant to say earlier, when we transitioned to Shadowmoor, Shadowmoor is actually one of the reasons why we lost Squanto.
Oh yeah,
He stopped playing Magic entirely because he went, man, it's just back to the same old crap, and he was just done.
yeah. He appreciated that Lorwyn was really different, and then Shadowmoor felt like more of the same. For some people, that was a positive thing. For him, that was a negative, and he made it very clear. So
Yup. So what else we got? How about the Flamekin? Aren't Flamekin anymore?
So yeah, they the change is really rough on them. And that part of this, like with the Great Aurora, Ashling had a part in that, and she was kind of cursed when it changed over in the storyline of that was in the novels. she took part in a ritual that actually changed, and she was kind of tricked into it by Una, and she changed Lorwyn to Shadowmoor with the Great Aurora, and she became Ashling the Extinguisher, and she became really, really powerful. But the other flamekin lost most of their flames, and you can see there's little traces or wisps of it on them now, but they view her as the flame thief. They think, oh, she took our fire, and so now they are bitter. They have no taste for art or enjoyment. They are purely driven by loss. They feel, even though they don't understand that the aurora happened, they just know that they don't have what they used to. They don't feel complete. Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. it it's never stated in the lore that they knew what was happening and that they knew, okay, we were different, but it's that feeling of loss. And when they see the fire, it's probably a very an instinctive, like, that should be mine and how dare you have it kind of thing.
Dang it, I forgot to unmute again. Sorry. So yeah, they're shambling coal skeletons. And according to the wiki page again, they have a legend that their flame was taken long ago by a traitor known as the Extinguisher.
Hmm.
And I don't know what it is about Ashling. Well, I guess Ashling is, since she still has a flame, they just
Yeah.
call her the Extinguisher.
Yeah.
So that's why they know they used to have fire, but in the long, long ago, someone took it. And look, she's got fire. I bet she took it. Bitch.
Yeah. In the novelization, not to spoil a book from, I'm sorry, how many years ago?
There's
10,
a bunch.
20, whatever. Una is trying to manipulate this to steal Ashling's elemental fire for herself, because people with power want more power. So she's trying to absorb Ashling's fire, and because she's basically concentrated it from all the others, and it's absorbed something with the aurora. And I get where Mike comes from in that not all of this is extremely well spelled out. So she's like, want it. And there's some evidence that maybe she's used the fairies to spread discontent among the cinders and be like, hey, Ashling took your fire. Like, she's kind of spread that around. So
Let's see. So who else? We've got giants. Giants are red green in Shadowmoor.
Hmm.
I don't remember anything about giants in Shadowmoor, honestly.
I so they've moved out of white, but are they just more territorial? They're more like the fee fi fo fum, like, I'm gonna eat you now kind of giant, versus, you know, I to be honest, the giants never really made much of an impression on me.
Yeah. According to the wiki, they're more brutish and associated with red and green mana. And this time, when they have those long sleep periods, they wake up and they're covered in moss and grass and stuff, and they don't bother to wipe it off because they're not as, I don't know, cultured as their
Yeah.
Lorwyn equivalents.
Yeah. I mean, they're already big and strong, and now they're just big and strong and cranky.
That's what it looks like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, how about goblins?
Goblins. So here they are also now in green and red instead of green and black,
Yep.
and um, they're not really necessarily into sharing sensations with each other. Saint Seagal says, "Are they any smarter?" I they're still goblins. Um, they will never not be goblins.
These like to eat things, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
their
the
focus.
boggarts. There are lots
Yeah,
of different types of goblins in Shadowmoor.
right. But they are, and they focus instead of on all the senses, they focus entirely on consumption, entirely. And if left alone, they would be kind of like the gremlins on Kaladesh, where they just consume and consume and consume until there's nothing left. The thing with gremlins, though, is that they like eat aether, right? So after a while, there's no more aether to eat. But the goblins will eat
Just
anything.
whatever.
Yeah. So
Now, there are different flavors of goblins. There's hobgoblins, who are more like the Lorwyn Kithkin than they are anything else.
yeah,
Yeah.
Huh. That's
there's
weird.
there's the red caps,
Yeah, they're red caps.
which are murderous little devils.
Yeah, it says actively malicious and homicidal.
Yeah. Yes.
What are the black green ones? The Tro? Or are there or are they trolls? I can't remember if they're goblins or
I think
trolls.
they're not listed under goblins, so they might be trolls.
Okay.
There were also the Spriggans,
Right.
which are mostly green and can get bigger. And then there are a couple of stream hoppers, too, which is a thing with one eye, one arm, and one leg that just sort of bounces around.
The hobgoblins were scary as all get go because they've got gigantic mouths, don't they?
Lots of pointy teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they like live in houses and cottages and wear clothes. So they're like if the Lorwyn Kithkin get mad and I don't know had bad teeth, like
Yeah.
because
Became
I
like
remember them being like dressed in armor and what is that, the Rise of the Hobgoblins, March of the Hobgoblins, that spell.
Mhm.
So they're like a community.
Yeah.
It's Shadowmoor's a weird place, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Tree folk. What is up with tree folk in Shadowmoor? They're
Tree folk branch out into black.
I hate you.
Yeah, you do.
I don't actually see
Well, so
anything about them in Shadowmoor.
well, I think it's kind of due to appearance. Instead of like the tree folk having leaves and representing life and growth in Lorwyn, here they're withered. They're there's the canker abomination is green and black hybrid, and it's a tree folk horror, and it's just kind of, they're these like barely living dying things, um and they represent decay. So it's more of, there's the creekwood leaves, it's more of just the creepy trees, the scene in Snow White when she's running out into the woods and she sees all the trees with the contorted faces, and it looks like they're trying to reach out and grab her. So
Mhm.
that sort of stuff. It's
Or in the oh god, the Legend of Sleepy Hollow cartoon.
yeah. Ooh, that thing was, I saw that as a kid, and
Yeah, that was terrifying when I was a little kid, and
Yeah.
the trees in that were especially terrible. But
I don't
according
remember.
to the page here on screen, during the Plains Shadowmoor periods, they become leafless, gnarled figures bent on avenging harm to their forests. So they're essentially still tree folk, but instead of being wise and friendly, they mad, bro.
Yeah.
Well,
I think the one that always came to mind for me was, let me find it. It was the tree, the Wickerbow Elder.
okay.
Well, I mean, that's one where it's got no leaves, it's gnarled, and just it. It's like Treebeard, but more if Treebeard somehow like had more. I don't know. Like Treebeard was scarier. Is what that it's sort of the thought that comes in, and again has little lanterns hanging from it, so it's again got the
If
like whenever
tree
you hold a flashlight up to your face to make it to scare people, that sort of feel to it.
if Treebeard decided to, kill the hobbits,
Yeah.
Buh.
Yeah.
Oh, I found it.
What?
We don't have changelings anymore, but we still have mimics and pukas.
I
Ah.
I forgot all about them.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, and we have other things like noggles. Gee, I don't know why we would be thinking about noggles lately. But donkey folk.
The
And you
big
have
old heads on the little bitty bodies.
Yep.
And the Dwargar.
Yeah,
Yep.
we had dwarves. The Dwargar were essentially dwarves, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dark dwarfs.
And then you had a couple one-ofs, like the Still Moon Cavalier was a Doulahan, a headless horseman, because they wanted to represent a lot of the fairy tales, but the darker side of fairy tales. Long before they decided to explore this more in depth in stuff like Throne of Eldraine, they did it here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we had the Gwillian and the Trow and Oofs and Noggles and Bogles and Kelpies. Bogles, which still wreak havoc in what, modern?
Yeah.
yeah,
We have
Flip
too
it.
many of those formats now for me to keep them straight, but I'm pretty sure Bogles are modern.
dude, when it was like triple eventide drafting, I would draft the heck out of some boggles, like green blue every time, and I had an absurdly high win rate with that. Just crazy because it's dumb. So they wreck any format they're in. Turns out hexproof is a good thing.
Turns
And I
out.
mean a terrible thing, but powerful thing.
What the hell are Trows? Yeah, they're a type of troll. But there's one more race that we have not covered the different version of, and that's the Elves.
Figured you were waiting to talk about them last.
Yeah,
so.
and in Shadowmoor, the Elves are the good guys.
What? What a twist.
Right?
Yeah.
They're so in Lorwyn, remember they're the racist, horrible bastard bad guys, and in Shadowmoor, they're still trying to preserve beauty. Well, rather than just look at how beautiful we are, they're trying to preserve other beauty that they find.
Yes. They're still dictated by beauty, but I think in here you can take one word and it summarizes both of them. In Lorwyn, they're selfish, and in Shadowmoor, they are selfless. They live their lives as rangers trying to protect other things, the beautiful things of the world. So, from dying and disaster and danger and that sort of stuff. And here they're in green and white. So,
Yeah. Because you can't have the elves be the bad guy for a full year, because people like Dirk would riot. Let's say.
and the main protagonist in both of the halves of this story is an elf called Reese, and in Lorwyn, he's a member of a hunting party, and he goes rogue for various reasons. So he actually turns his back on the rest of his race after the Great Aurora. He doesn't remember any of that, but he's a ranger. He's still trying to preserve good. So he's Reese the Redeemed, or Reese. I might be mispronouncing his name, like I mispronounce a lot of things. So
Yeah, it's totally pronounced rice, like that stuff that you put soy sauce
it
on.
is.
No, it's
I
not.
no. Okay,
I
'cause
just
you
know
told
that
me
you
that
love rice with soy sauce, so.
That is a thing. You've known me for a long time, and that is a thing that I do. So it's funny. The plane itself seems to change, not just the creatures, but like plants change. Uh, the environment changes from Lorwyn to Shadowmoor as well. So things are more menacing at night. And it's kind of weird. The text actually says, if you read it, there's like, okay, so if I say, if Lorwyn and Shadowmoor are kind of like the Matrix in that they are almost these set worlds, and Una is switching between the two when it pleases her. There's almost like a glitch in it. Are you familiar with Moonglove? There's a card, Moonglove Extract, right? And it
Mhm.
was just your generic, like, oh, for limited, it's an artifact that you can sacrifice to pop something. Here's the weird thing is that it's this incredibly potent acid. It says here, the flavor text is diluted Moonglove can etch living tissue. Concentrated, a drop will kill a giant. It only shows
Buh.
it only shows up in Lorwyn. And then if you look at the flavor text for Medicine Runner, which is in Shadowmoor, Elvish healers carry vials of the balm known as Dawn Glow, reserving it for those wounds that herbs cannot treat. And so ordinarily you'd think, oh, Dawn Glow is in Lorwyn because it's this incredibly potent healing thing, plant. And Moonglove would be in Shadowmoor because it kills things. And it's almost like it got switched by accident. And it's there to almost illustrate something of almost the artificial nature of this change, how it's been manipulated. So, a little bit of a flavor thing for you there. Someone else might take that exact same parallel and say, well, um, Dawn Glow is kind of like the light in the darkness, and Moonglove is the bitty bit of cyanide in your tea. I don't know, bad analogy there. Is the darkness in the light, fluffy area. But take it either way you want. But the rest of the plane does conform a little more naturally to those stereotypes. So, would you want? Obviously, I don't think there's anything claiming to be a government on either of these. But if anyone is in charge, it's probably Una because she's manipulating everything. Um, would you want to live on Shadowmoor?
Not as such, no.
Why?
Okay, to illustrate this, I will use a story from the real world.
Okay.
Yesterday, my brain was not doing well, right? I went to see the parents, but I had to maintain distance and wear a mask and didn't get a hug because I'm still, the risk factor here because of the door dashing thing.
Right.
And so that was a bummer. I stood there and talked to him for like 2 hours and then didn't get a hug, and that's really hard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel like streaming last night. So I was like, okay, to shock my brain into not worrying about this anymore, I'm gonna watch a scary movie. And I picked Insidious, which is a James Wan movie.
Oh, I've never seen the whole thing through, but I have seen stuff when it would be on TV, and there were scenes in that I was like, I don't know if I want to see this movie. So,
Yeah.
you,
Now the movie itself, I've been watching a lot of scary movies lately, just because I didn't for a long time. Like I refuse to watch a scary movie without someone to watch with. But these days, that's not even an option. So screw it. I'll just watch them and deal with it. As long as I cleanse my brain with something else afterwards before I go to bed, it should be fine. So I watched
Yeah.
Insidious, right?
right.
Which is, it's really good. Like the story and the atmosphere, it's really good. Like I see why it's so popular and why everyone loves James Wan. The problem is that movie in particular relies way too heavily on the jump scare chord. Do you know what I mean?
I think so.
Like when
Yeah.
there's a jump scare, you get that like bah! Sound that the people in the movie don't hear. It's non-diegetic. It's just a sound there to make you jump as the audience member. And it does that a lot in this damn movie. Like a lot. Like a lot. Like too much. Like I thought I was enjoying the movie, and then after a while I realized I wasn't enjoying the movie. I recognized that it was good, but I wasn't enjoying it because it was like, "Argh!" And I'm like, and then I watched, to cleanse my brain, I watched the movie Fletch, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. And then I watched some YouTube videos, and then I went to bed, right?
Right.
While I was asleep, I had a dream. And this dream was whatever, but during the dream, I got a jump scare that was straight Insidious style jump scare that actually made me jump so hard it woke me up.
Hate those.
And so then I had to spend a few minutes with my eyes closed going, if I open my eyes, am I going to see stuff? Am I still dreaming? Am I awake? And eventually, you know, my eyes tried to open, and it is because I was so sleepy. Like, they only sort of open, and I'm like, okay, there's nothing there. And so they closed again. And then I was like, wait, now is there something there? Am I still dreaming? And I opened my eyes. And of course, there's nothing there because that's not real. And then I closed my eyes again. And eventually, I went back to sleep. But I had that cycle of, is something going to get me again? Because it did. It just got me a minute ago in the dream. Is this a dream? Am I awake? Son of a bitch. And that would be my entire life on Shadowmoor. And I can't handle that.
Like I said, I've never seen that movie the whole way through. But at one point, I turned it on, and they were doing a scene where she, the medium, is communicating to one of her assistants. She's wearing a gas mask, and
Yep.
she's describing what she sees. And that was, the lights were off, and I'm watching this movie. I don't have a whole lot of context for it, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go cry now. So that was a little, but I guess maybe I'm a lightweight. Anyway, yeah, you are living in a literal jump scare nightmare, whereas instead of with Lorwyn, you know, maybe you'll stumble and fall, or you know, Boggart will be like, hey, you know, try putting, you know, these prickly things between your cheeks and see how it feels. Here you might just die, and there's less safe havens. Yes, the elves are trying to do good things, but like you can't go to the Kithkin for help because no,
Because they won't help. Maybe they'll stab you.
maybe they'll stab you. Maybe being like, okay, they'll probably stab you.
Yeah, yeah.
So
If they can get close enough to stab you without freaking out, they'll stab you.
you can't go to a marrow and be like, hey, I need some assistance or some gossip or whatever. They're gonna be like, oh, come here. You know, we all float down here, and they'll pull you under the water. So,
Yeah, they'll stab you and then steal your stuff.
yeah. Yeah. There are nightmare things that walk around. So, and it's never entirely clear what Una's purpose is, but she allowed it to switch back and forth between Lorwyn and Shadowmoor, so it's not like, oh, I'm evil and generic and I want it to be nighttime forever, but everything just presses in on you closer in the darkness. You may, you know, be trying to find warmth somewhere, and you run into a cinder, and they're like, I don't like you, and they kill you. You know, I feel like that happens with a lot of the races on Shadowmoor is, I don't like you, I'm going to kill you. Boggarts might just be like, I wonder how you taste. So,
Yeah, like you light a fire to try to get warm, and so cinders see it and come up and attack you, so you run away, and then you try to catch some shut eye, and fairies steal your dreams. And then, as you're stumbling through the undergrowth, you bump into the edge of a Kithkin village, and they throw sharp objects at you, and so you leave. And then you walk through like a part of a forest that's like burned down or something, and a tree folk goes, "You did this," and chases you, and you're like, "Jesus!" And then you finally just go, "I can't take this anymore," and you sit down, and a boggart gang finds you and rolls up and eats you. Like, it's just not a good place.
Assuming that where you sat down didn't turn out to be a giant's back and it just wakes up and smushes you. Not even
See?
on purpose. Although it probably would do that on purpose, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know that this is like the worst place, but part of the problem here is with the vast difference, the vast contrast between the two. You might be on Lorwyn and you're like, yeah, this is the bomb. I feel okay here. I'm all right. And then it's nighttime and everything is bad. So, yeah, I don't think I'd want to live there. And it kind of like takes some of the warm fuzzies for Lorwyn right out the window. If you have any clue that this is even a possibility, would you really let yourself stay if it was if you had the chance to not be there? I could go somewhere where it might be a little bad, or it might be pretty bad some of the time, or I can stay here where it's awesome half the time and incredibly dangerous the rest of the time. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, same. Shadowmoor is just way too perilous to get by on. Unless you can find a group of elves that'll take you in, there's no safe place. There's always going to be something roaming around that'll get you.
Yeah. Now, according to the wiki page here, this is all it says when you scroll down to Lorwyn Shadowmoor Fused. At the end of the Eventide, the Great Aurora is no more, although the resulting plane's structure and races have not been disclosed yet. I don't know why it says this. Marilyn was one of the main participants in the return of the natural day-night cycle to the plane. So it looks like it is back to a regular cycle that's not 300 years.
Yeah.
The problem is, I doubt that it's like... Surely it's not, every day is Lorwyn and every night is Shadowmoor.
You might have more of a mix of the two, where it's not the idyllic safe haven it was in Lorwyn.
It's also not the nightmare hellscape of Shadowmoor.
Right. Marilyn was an elf, and she was kind of corrupted by Una. Again, getting into the story a little bit. Una basically wanted to possess her and make her a backup copy of Una.
You gotta back your important files up.
It's true. But Marilyn ended up turning against Una because she wanted to have free will, blah, 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 and participated with rice, that stuff I put soy sauce on, and tried to kill Una, and Una was vastly depowered and was thought to be dead, although at the end of the book, it's like, it's like you see the Shredder's hand coming out of the garbage or whatever. She's kind of like whispering to a newborn fairy. So she's not gone yet. So we don't know, and they're specifically not telling us, probably because at some point we're going to go back, and they want to be able to say, hey, you like Lorwyn, you're going back, but it's not the way you always remembered it. They don't want us. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Forgot to unmute again.
I've been hearing you. But
I know you can hear me.
Yes,
the,
yes,
the,
I
the
know,
recording can't hear me.
sorry. Go.
All right, let me try it again. It could be that it's a weird place where every so often it shifts from the Lorwyn we know to the Shadowmoor we know. Whether that's every like 12 hours or some longer period of time or what. whatever. It's more regular than 300 years though.
Right.
Or it could be like Brian said that we have this mix that's something in between the Lorwyn that we know and the Shadowmoor that we know. The problem is we don't know because they've never told us. All we know is that the Great Aurora is gone and there's a day-night cycle again. Thank you, good night. What?
Yeah.
What about the Kithkin? Are there 12 different kinds of goblins? Hello? Is this thing on? And we don't know.
So what is Lorwyn and Shadowmoor put together? Is that Lormoor?
Lorwyn?
Lorlamore or Shadowwind?
Ooh, Shadowwind's a nice name. I'm going to name a rogue that in some sort of RPG thing.
Shadowwind. Yeah.
Shadowwind. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and chat tells us that Rosewater has said that a return is very unlikely, which is awful because this place is amazing. Do you remember why he said a return is unlikely?
No.
Well, I know you don't, because you don't read things, magic articles and whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't either, which is why I was asking chat, because some of them do. It was unpopular. Really? It's not a reserve list plane. What? The reserve list is from the first, 2 years of Magic. That's not it at all.
Yeah.
The block was just generally unpopular. That's weird.
Well, not the first 2 years. I think there are still reserve list cards in Urza block and Masks block.
Oh, yeah, probably. But still, that's way... That's 4 ways. Yeah, before Lorwyn.
It's one of those things where I thought it was popular, but I also thought Time Spiral was popular, and it turns out Time Spiral did.
Time Spiral was popular with people like us who had been playing a while.
So I'm wondering if my perception of it is not what everyone else's perception was. So
possibly
they're the ones that calculated the sales number. So go ahead.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I loved it, and all of us loved it, and all of us but Squanto loved the both halves. The dichotomy of it. So
yeah, it had a very unique flavor to it, but.
Weird. Oh well.
Yeah.
I still don't want to live in the nightmare hellscape side of it, though.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
It still was an interesting exercise for this segment because it is so. Hey, that's not bad. Oh, that's terrible. So this is one of the reasons I've been wanting to talk about this one for a while, so I'm glad we took the time to do so today. Are we gonna do anything else, or are we wrapping up?
I'm pretty sure that we're about to lose Dirk at this point, so.
Okay.
So there you go. Let us know what you guys think of Lorwyn and Shadowmoor, like on the whole, because I'm amazed that the block didn't do well.
There's just certain planes that I think were super popular, and then there are just some planes that I don't know if it's the mechanics, because I feel like some of the mechanics is part of it, in addition to maybe like the atmosphere and story. But I mean, it's like we haven't been back to Alara, have we?
No, we have not.
No.
But like the thing that made Alara cool was the fact that it had split into 5 pieces. Alara put back together is kind of probably kind of generic and boring, actually.
And maybe that's part of the reluctance to go back to whatever Lorwyn Shadowmoor looks like right now.
That could be, yeah. It could be that
See-
the whatever the fusion of Lorwyn and Shadowmoor is kind of generic and boring.
Well, I think Alara would be a fun one to go back to because with it having that uh is a 3-color thing, right? 'Cause that
Yeah,
was the
Alara
shards.
was the
Yeah, the
5 different
shards.
shards.
So, but the shard concept brings up the thought of, well, obviously one shard is going to be stronger, or how shards are going, like how the different groups are interacting with each other. Once the plane came back together, once all the shards came together, what happened to everybody? Is one dominating over the other, or are there alliances that are formed? I mean, that one sounds like it could be turned into a um, Ravnica style theme with alliances formed and broken and stuff of that sort, like how the guilds do it.
Yeah, the problem is they can just go back to Ravnica again if they want to do that because people freaking love Ravnica way more than I do.
I mean, I like it okay. I just don't want to be anywhere all the time.
That
And
was
I
the
would,
fun thing about getting away from Dominaria.
and like then when we went back to Dominaria,
It was
it,
awesome
it was awesome.
because we hadn't been there in forever.
Yeah.
Man, maybe we should do an episode on planes that we're not going back to that we should.
I think because it's extremely unlikely that we're going back to Kamigawa. Mark Rosewater even said when he was talking about the shrines that are in M21 that he doesn't think we're going back to Kamigawa, but it's a plane he gets requests for all the time. So he's doing this to be like, hey, here's a little piece of it. Here's how we can kind of do it here, which I think is a good thing. But for people that want to go back, they're just like, grr. So I think that could be an interesting topic to do because Kamigawa, Lorwyn, some of the others, we could talk about, why we're not going back or why it's unlikely we'll go back, why that may be a good idea or why not. Because there's maybe some that we're just happy to be like, yeah, I can't do that anymore. But versus,
Like Amonkhet.
well, no,
Exactly.
Amonkhet we can't go back to because I'm pretty sure that place is gone.
no, Amonkhet's still there. It's just we don't know really what it would look like. That city is gone, but there's still the rest of the plane. But like, we can't go back to Phyrexia, like old school Phyrexia, because that did get blown up. So, but yeah, that could be an interesting segment to do. So let us know if you think you'd like for us to do that.
Yeah. But for now, that'll be it for this episode. Now, for the next episode, it is 600. We have something in the works. It's the return of a thing that we have only done twice in the past. And
Previews.
yes, official previews.
Wow.
Dirk nailed it.
Wow.
We've only
Sorry, I gave
done,
away the secret, guys.
yeah, we've only done it twice, carefully split up into two 200-part episodes each.
Jeez, man. And the best part of that might have been the beat where we all took was like, wait, what? Oh, man.
Oh my god. So, yeah, now we're going to take a week off after this week to set this up. So in 2 weeks, join us, because we're going to make this work one way or another, damn it, for a new edition of Exiled. And there's a pause where like 3 people go, whoa, really? And everyone else goes, what?
That's why pre-release was better.
Previews.
Previews, sorry. That's why previews was better.
For
Yes,
the
Everyone
last,
goes, oh yeah.
But that was a lie.
for the last time that we did it, you have to go back 200 episodes or 4 years.
Yeah, that was that was the thing. If you've ever watched Chopped, this is one of Brian's babies that he came up with. If you've ever watched Chopped on Food Network, it's like that but for deck building.
Yes.
And we're gonna try to get some people who are, let's say, known for deck building. So if you have any suggestions for anyone that we should get, and don't be like, get Mark Rosewater! Shut up. Nobody gets Mark Rosewater. We're not going to get Gavin. I can't even get Gavin to come back to Monday Night Magic for a guest spot. So, Gavin doesn't do that sort of thing. But, like, get me some Magic people who are current. Like, there's one person in chat rattling off people that haven't been relevant for years. Not him. Get us some people who are, personalities. Let us know. Give us some suggestions, preferably either on Twitter or in the Manipool Discord server. Those are the two places they'll be easiest to keep track of. So, yeah, because we're gonna do us as the judges, and then get 4 contestants. So, should be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So if you think of someone, let us know ASAP so I can contact them and we can try to get them scheduled for that week. It's going to be awesome. Not in the Twitch chat, because the Twitch chat will be closed as soon as we're done, and I'll never see it again. Go drop that in the Discord server. What did I just get done saying? Jesus. But anyway. And they're still saying, you know what? I'm just going to close the chat if you don't stop. Lord. But okay, so that's the big deal for 600. Let's do some final thoughts and wrap this up before I stab everyone in our Twitch chat.
For my final thought, I'm just hoping that next week, whenever I go back, whenever we start up school for next week, that I do not go absolutely mad crazy over technology stuff, and that hopefully I can get back to actually teaching instead of being tech support. That's my hope. That's my wish. Please don't go Great Aurora on us.
Nice. Taking it back. Being topical.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, my parents both got smartphones today.
Oh, today.
Yeah, like for the first time ever.
This
Gosh.
really is breaking news for you. Yeah.
Which means I'm going to be tech support.
Yep.
I can feel it. They're going to call me, do you know how to... And I don't, because I've only ever had iPhones, and they both got Android phones. And those things are a mystery to me, just like iPhones are mysteries to Android people. So they're going to be like, do you know how to... I'm going to be like, no, I don't. I'm sorry. Dirk is like that, but with lots and lots and lots of people instead of just like my parents. So...
That's how I am with Zoom and all those others, that I've not used this thing before. I've joined calls, never hosted a call, never had to deal with all the crap that goes with it. So that's my final thought is, I need you guys to pray for me because I might need some Jesus on this.
Hope you make it out okay, man.
I hope so too.
Yeah, I hope you're also not a statistic in why opening up schools was a bad idea. Please stay safe, Dirk.
Well, no, we're totally distance learning. There are no kids.
Oh, really?
No, I don't physically see the kids at all.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
That's why Zoom is such a pill this whole week is we, at least for the first 9 weeks, we are distance learning.
Excellent.
So there's no contact, no nothing, and everything is being recorded. So
What?
that way, if there's anything that happens in classes or anything like that, there's documentation of it.
So don't pick your nose and be sure to wear pants. Got it.
Yep. That was day one rule is okay, guys. I'm wearing pants. You have to wear pants. No bathrobes. It's got to be school appropriate.
So I shouldn't pick my pants and I should wear my nose. Got it.
Yep.
That's also valuable advice.
I'm a helper.
Yeah, you are. Or something.
Yep.
Next.
So, uh, the world is crazy right now. You don't need me to tell you that. I had a very long, exhausting week at work, and I know it's Thursday and the week isn't done yet, but tomorrow, I really shouldn't say this out loud, but tomorrow isn't looking too bad. So, uh, I was mowing my lawn earlier today. You know what happens once a year when I mow my lawn?
Bees.
Yes, I got
Oh,
stung.
God, really?
Yeah, only
Dang it,
once,
man.
which is why I haven't been like, hey, I was doing, how I've got that hill. I was going down it, made one pass, and I must not have been close enough to the nest wherever it is. Was going on a second one, and that hot zing right on my leg, just above my shoe. I'm like, and I like kick it off, and I look up and I see about five others flying around, and I'm like, no. I let go of the
Let's say he kills the mower. It goes flying down the hill. It runs out into traffic. It gets hit by 3 cars. It causes a massive pileup. Meanwhile, Brian's in the house, cursing and shaking his fist at bees.
You're close, not quite extreme. I let go of it's a push mower, so as soon as I take my hands off of it, it dies. It does not move from that spot, so luckily traffic is not endangered. I go up the hill. This is on the side close to my neighbor, so it's like the steep incline.
Oh, God.
Well, that's where they tend to burrow. Um, like once a year, there's a nest in there, and we kill it, and then we're good for 12 months. But I go up the hill cursing a lot, saying things that I'm glad there weren't children around. I get up there, I try to survey, I try to see where's the nest. I can't really tell. I call my neighbor because she had just been out getting her mail like 15 minutes ago, and luckily her husband they mowed the yard like 2 days ago, so he's good. I said, I just want you to know I found this. She's like, are you okay? I'm like, yes. And then I went inside, put some meat tenderizer on it, and only had the one sting, which usually they're like, go for my blood. Um, I must not have been right up on the nest because I really thought I should have been attacked more. But anyway,
Wait, when
went
you say
inside.
meat tenderizer, do you mean you hit it with a mallet?
No, I use the powder stuff. You mix what meat tenderizer, the stuff you can buy at the grocery store,
This sounds like
uh,
sorcery.
with water. It makes a paste. You put it on there for about 20 minutes, and it takes some of the sting away. Does not stop swelling. And of course, if you're allergic, don't even, you need to get to a doctor. As that was going on, I called the exterminator, and they're coming out tomorrow. So, but my yard does not look evenly mowed. You can tell where I was out there for about. I had been out there for about an hour already. It's just a big yard, and I was trying to finish up, and and Dad came over for dinner, and he's like, "You didn't finish mowing your yard," and Mom was like, "Was there bees?" I said, "Yes, there was bees." So, but I am not like I have been usually like I'm much worse off. I'm hoping it doesn't swell up too much, but it was one sting. I'm okay. I didn't tell the guys this earlier because really in the grand scheme of things, not that big a thing. I I'm gonna go ahead and go because I am very tired tonight. No offense to these guys, but I'm gonna say for anybody, whether you're teachers or you're sending your kids to school or you're working at a job where you have to go out there, I just hope everyone continues to be safe and do the right thing. And we're not done with this yet, and let's not act like we're done with this yet. Let's not be silly. Just keep doing what you're doing, and we will eventually get through this at some point in the future. Just everybody stay safe. Okay, be good and don't do dumb things.
Yeah.
Good night.
Famous last words.
Lord. All right, Mike.
All right. It's been hard to tell and track time passing and know what's going on lately. Like, I remember a month ago when I was like, man, there's been a lot of really rough weeks at work in a row. I think it's going to start getting better, though, I hope. And it didn't. It's just been multiple months of a project load that we've never seen before. And we've been down a few people in engineering and finance for quite a while. And it's been rough on everybody. But I've gotten backups for all the projects that intersect with the time off that I'm going to take after the wedding. So that's set up. But, there's still plenty to be done. Oh, I had my first, last night, I had my first dream about showing up and not being properly prepared for it. Like, people were milling around, things were about to start, and then I realized, oh no, I never picked up my tux from the place. Could someone please go run by there real quick and bring it over here so I can get dressed?
Dang it, Mike. Oh yeah, apparently I told Mom that you were getting married, but I didn't tell the old man, or Mom didn't tell the old man. And so when I said something about it while I was talking to them yesterday, he went, "Wait, Mike's getting married?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I thought Scott was getting married." And then he paused. He went, "No, wait, Scott got married a long time ago." Oh, Scott's having a baby. By the way, everybody, yeah, my buddy Scott, my old roommate, his wife is pregnant.
Oh, wonderful.
He goes, "Yeah." Because I told Mom about that, and she did tell the old man. He's like, "Right, Scott's having a baby. So wait, when did Mike get married?" No, Mike's gonna get married. He said, right. What? And he goes, "Oh, well, tell him good job then." So the old man said, "Good job then."
Awesome.
Once he stopped being confused. He's also sort of kind of going deaf and has been for like my entire life. And so he was only kind of sort of paying attention. Wait, what? Anyway, that just popped into my head and I had to share it before I forgot again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's still a couple people that I've forgotten to call up and at least notify. Like, I still haven't let Devin know. I still haven't let Austin know. Part of the reason I haven't let Austin know is because I thought Ashley talked to his wife Chelsea a long ass time ago, but apparently not. So,
Whoops. Next time he pops up on my stream, you want me to just tell him so he can come cuss at you?
yeah, sure. But he and his wife are about to have a baby soon.
Whoa.
Yeah. Like, very soon, like within the next couple of weeks, I think.
Cool.
All kinds of crazy stuff happening.
I know, right? See, it's not all bad. It's just the general stuff is bad. The specific stuff can be good.
Yes, it's all in a deeply weird and aggravating context.
Yes.
Yeah, that's been it. I don't have any more meaningful content to share right now, I think.
All right, no meaningful content here. Oh, I guess that leaves me then, huh? Because Brian and Dirk already did their thing. So I'm working on so many projects. I've got actually just finished up editing and rendering the last, thus far, Shadowgate episode, which really makes me want to dive back in and play Shadowgate again. because I spotted stuff in the editing that I clearly wasn't paying attention to in the during the stream. And I'm like, oh, I know, Chewy, go do this. But that Chewy's from like 2 weeks ago. He doesn't know. So I want to try to like dive back in and do it before I forget again, because it was 2 months between streaming sessions of Shadowgate. Almost exactly. And yet I still managed to remember some things just out of the blue during that stream. But I'm so close to the end. Like in an episode I think that went up today or yesterday, I found the final boss, the Warlock Lord. He's right there. But if you do anything, he just zots you and you die. So it's like, well, piss.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found another place that's clearly end game stuff, and Lakmir's spirit or whatever is like, well, hurry up. And I'm like, I don't have the thing, I'm sorry. Like, and even Yorick, the hint skull, is like, you need to quit screwing around, son. And I'm like, damn it. So yeah, I'm playing the 2014 remake of Shadowgate, which is not just a graphical upgrade, it's an entirely different game. And it's confusing because I played the hell out of Shadowgate on the NES, and this ain't it, Chief. But yeah. But the last thus far episode of that is almost done. Once that's up, I'm going to start working on the Limbo playthrough, because I played through Limbo. I'll put that up on YouTube. But I'm also still working on the haircut thing. It's a long Chewy vlog. I did a before, an after, and I recorded the entire process of cutting my own hair. Because I think it's just entertaining enough. It's a little, like, it was like an hour and 20 minutes. Right now it's sitting at like 45 minutes. I need to make some more cuts and whatnot. And figure out, like, background music and all of that stuff, which is a part that I'm really bad at.
Mm-hmm.
But once I get all that figured out, like, first I have to get the actual video straight, and then when I can do background music and that sort of thing, and then it'll be good to go. But I have to do that in chunks, because I had, I think it was like an hour, no, it was an hour and 54 minutes, I remember now, of video, and I'm like, that's too much. But luckily, Sony Vegas has a time compression and stretch tool that you can just whoop to make speed ups easily. Thank goodness. So with that and some judicious cutting, it's down to, I think it's sitting at like 45 minutes or something right now, maybe a little less. But I have to do more cuts. It's just a long, tedious process. And I still have the super secret project that I'm still just kicking around in my head trying to find an angle on. It's taking a whole new direction in my head that I hadn't anticipated, and I don't know how to make that work. I guess I need to find, like, YouTubers who have done Zelda playthroughs and ask for permission to use a few seconds of footage from them. Yeah. It's Zelda related, by the way, but that's all I'm going to tell you right now. So, yeah. And I'm still DoorDashing. DoorDash has been dildos lately because, well, last week it was nice because we had thunderstorms every week. Like every night for the last 2 weeks. It's been glorious. But then this week, it's been awful. Monday was good, and then the next 3 days have been basically wastes of time. Like Wednesday especially, I should have just stayed home and not bothered DoorDashing, and I would have been a better person for it. But, yeah. Part of that is because the local Chipotle closed, and there's a sign on the door. There was a sign on the door that said, due to equipment malfunction, but they've been closed for like a week, and I'm thinking they caught a case. because it was like a handwritten note. But now there's a different sign on the door, but I didn't, before I could get out of the car and go read it, because I was still parked there because it's a central location when I was waiting for an order. I got an order, so I left, and I haven't been back. That also means I haven't been getting my burrito fix. So I'm a little cranky. But anyway. Yes. But enough of all that. That's just what I've been working on lately. Plus dealing with the, systematic dismantling of the pieces of our government by people who don't care. And, the complete lack of a response to the pandemic that we're all just ignoring now. Like, just, oh, well, I guess it'll go away eventually, but that's not how it works, so I don't know what... I guess we all just have to survive until hopefully we get a real government that will do something? I don't know how... I don't know what the plan is. I don't think there is one, and that worries me. So, yeah. I've been dealing with a lot of crushing existential dread lately. But not like the vague existential dread that you get like periodically. No, the very real, these are things that are happening in the world existential dread. Luckily, I've been managing to maintain pretty well. Mostly. So, that's something. Some days it's harder than others. That's why I didn't stream last night, and instead I scarred myself by watching Insidious. Too many jump scares, James Wan. Seriously, dude. Like, ease up a little bit. Damn. Makes me want to watch The Conjuring again, because I don't remember having that problem with The Conjuring.
Uh-huh.
But now it's 11 o'clock, so I can't go watch it once we're done, because... well, then I have to go to bed, and no. But anyway. So, yeah. But hey, if you want to help support what I do. Because, yeah, we've got podcasts and Twitch streams and YouTube videos. All of that stuff. You can go to patreon.com/themanapool. Sign up to be a lifeguard. And help me keep paying the bills while I try to create content. You'll also, once I get, like, the super secret project going, I'll be putting, like, versions of it on Patreon. I'll be like, hey, what do I need to change? How's the pacing on this? And whatnot. So that Patreon will be my, how's this? Like, testing ground. So if you want to help me out with that, then that's where you go. Yeah. But we have different tiers. You can get YouTube videos and Maniple episodes early, or you can get the odds and ends, which I really need to get back on days when I'm not working on videos. Instead of giving in to existential dread and sitting in the living room staring at the wall, I need to work on odds and ends. Or you can get the sponsorship shout out on the podcast and in the end screen of the YouTube videos. So, hey, I'd like to thank our mythic lifeguards in, I don't know what order this is. Whatever order this is. Let's see here. Al, Kim Ho, Scuzzo, John Parker, Jake Jansen's, Beardy Man. I scrolled. Hang on. Team You Hellas, how are you? PJ McMullen, The Beastfather, Aaron Goodwine, Jason Kaus, Andrew Hunt, Lance Delicious, Cody Buckowing, Casey, Jeff Spencer, Danny Liao. I scrolled again. Damn it. When these are in a different order, it's really hard to do this. John Morris, Jason Doan, Connor Kennedy, Backwards Logic, Aleph Cat, ALK Alters, and Gothic Man. Yay. Good lord. So, thank you all so very much for your support, and to all of the lifeguards at every tier, because I quite literally could not do this without you. And with that, we will be done with the Mana Pool number 599. Don't forget, next week will be nothing, and then if all goes well, the week after that will be 600. Yes. I'm very excited. Hopefully we can make this work. Get a awesome episode of Exiled out there utilizing the new Discord technology, and it'll be great. Yeah. So with that, we will be done. Thank you all so very much for joining us, and go live in Lorwyn but not Shadowmoor.